Good morning. Thank you for coming today. I'm Linda Wagen, and I'm here today as part of Ohio's Campaign for Jobs. Some of you know me from my work at the Ohio Chamber of Commerce, and the Ohio Chamber is a proud member of Ohio's Campaign for Jobs. We join many organizations across our state who have come together to support the jobs budget because we believe that it's critical to the recovery of our state's economy and jobs for Ohioans. I'm joined today by my friends and colleagues from throughout Ohio, many of whom are standing behind us and are in the audience here, and they have come to Columbus to talk to their legislators about the importance of the jobs budget. We think that the jobs budget is important because it has critical reforms in it. Never before have we had our policy leaders step up and really take on some of the critical issues that need to be resolved so that we have a more sustainable government, and with a more sustainable and efficient government, the ability to grow our economy and to get business investment and job creation for Ohioans. We're entering the final weeks of budget negotiations, and the supporters of Ohio's Campaign for Jobs agree that the transformational changes that are in the jobs budget are critical to Ohio's ability to thrive and to have the best climate to bring new jobs. We support the jobs budget because it eliminates the deficit without increasing taxes and restores the final phase of the state income tax cut. You're going to hear a little bit more about the things that we support in the budget from my colleagues Carol Caruso, Roger Geiger, and Brian Williams. A great example of one of the major reforms in the budget is the reforms to Medicaid. I think all of you know that Medicaid eats up 30% of our state budget, and it's predicted to rise to 43% by 2012 if nothing's done. The jobs budget brings Medicaid costs under control. It improves health outcomes. And I think that's an important thing with all of these reforms, is that they not only rein in costs, but they improve outcomes. And that's something that we should be proud of as Ohioans. The Medicaid reforms also coordinate medical care, and they reduce nursing home costs and give seniors more choices for the latter years of their life. They provide medical health homes so that the care for Medicaid recipients can be coordinated and they can get better care for less money. Across Ohio, there are advocates for the elderly, for people with mental illness, and for children who are heralding the common sense changes in this budget for improving care and making programs less complicated. Of particular concern is the portion of the budget that addresses education. We have to say that we were very disappointed that the Senate chose to remove the teacher evaluation from the budget. Carol Caruso will talk a little bit more about that. We will be talking with our legislators today about how important that we think that is as businesses and employers so that we can have good skilled workers for our workforces. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Carol Caruso, who is the Vice President of Advocacy with the Greater Cleveland Partnership, to talk a little bit more about the education reforms and their importance.
Thank you, Linda, and again, let me add my thanks to all of you for being here. Except for children and parents, no one has a greater stake in the quality of our schools than the business community. Without a strong education system, we can't find the knowledgeable, skilled workers we need. Without a well-educated workforce, Ohio cannot attract the new investment needed to restore our economic competitiveness. The Greater Cleveland Partnership has worked with a broad coalition of business leaders, educators, and civic organizations for the past year on education reform. Many of the school reforms in the state budget will advance our efforts and help us. As an advocate for Ohio's employers, I know firsthand the need for an educated workforce. Ohio spends 49% more than the national average on administration. Only 3 states spend less than Ohio in the classroom. The jobs budget puts the priority on students and excellent teachers by redirecting dollars where they'll do the most good, in the classroom. The jobs budget empowers parents with more choices to send children to the best performing schools and gives them a greater voice to help improve schools. As originally proposed, the jobs budget would evaluate and reward our best teachers through merit pay and bonuses. It helps them keep their jobs by eliminating seniority as the deciding factor in layoffs. 36 other states have abandoned seniority-based teacher retention. Unfortunately, the Ohio Senate deleted teacher evaluation from the budget. Ohio's many outstanding teachers deserve to have their accomplishments recognized. Race to the Top recognizes this, which is one reason it calls for teacher evaluations to be used to make effective decisions about raises, promotions, and retention. We are strongly urging the House Senate Conference Committee members to restore these vital education reforms to the budget. It is critical. And now it is my pleasure to turn the podium over to my good friend and the Vice President, Ohio Executive Director of one of Ohio's greatest champions of business, the National Federation of Independent Businesses, or NFIB, Roger Geiger.
Thanks, Carol. I proudly stand here with my colleagues behind me today to announce our organization's strong support for the jobs bill, the jobs budget that is now being debated in the Ohio Senate. I stand here representing 24,000 small independently owned businesses from all 88 counties. This budget is transformational. Ohio's small business community is supporting this budget for really two broad reasons. Number one, government is learning to live within its means. What a novel concept. Small businesses and individual families have been doing that for years. Small businesses and individuals can't simply raise income. I can't set my salary as an individual, and small businesses certainly can't just raise prices. They have to learn to live within means. And clearly over the last couple of years, families across this state and small businesses across this state have had to make some very difficult choices. Yes, they've had to make some painful choices. Yes, they've had to lay people off. Yes, they've had to change benefits. Yes, they've had to reorganize their businesses. And families have done made those same difficult choices. And it's time that government does it too. And this bill clearly reflects that. It reflects that government is going to live within its means without raising taxes. What a novel concept. It's what every Ohioan has had to do over the last couple of years. We also very strongly support this budget because it's transformational. It is really evaluating from top to bottom what are some of the things that we can do differently. And yes, maybe even allow the private sector to get involved. Yes, maybe even find out that a little good, healthy competition in the bidding process might just get us the same value services at a lower cost, and I would submit to you, maybe even at a higher quality. All of that is embodied in this budget for the first time in my almost 30 years of being involved in state government. This is a truly transformational budget. Specifically within this budget, small business embraces two very key points. First is the elimination of the death tax. Some like to call it the estate tax, but it really is a tax on death. And there isn't a more egregious tax in this state on those people who create jobs and who grow businesses, small entrepreneurs and individuals. That is a huge disservice to them when they are ready to pass on their businesses to their family members, their children, their grandchildren. What's more American than that? And we are one of a very few number of states that still have a death tax. And we have the lowest threshold, only a little over $300,000. It is really a sin. It's a crime that we tax small businesses just at the very time that they're trying to transfer that business on to the second and third and fourth generations. It's a tax that's on goods and services that have been taxed many times over. Small businesses have already paid property tax. They've already paid income tax. They've already paid sales tax. And now upon transformation, you're asking them to pay one more time a death tax. We are a handful of states that have an archaic death tax. It needs to be done away with, and this bill, this budget, does that, and it's about time for those who create jobs in this state, small businesses, for those that we're counting on to grow and get us out of the economic issues we are, which has historically been small and medium-sized businesses. This is a huge issue for them. Second is finally delivering on a promise that was made in 2005. The final reduction of the income tax. Again, small businesses bear the brunt of income tax. We have tens of thousands of small businesses that are pass-through entity. They pay their business tax through their income tax. We have over 500,000 self-employed Ohioans, people who work for themselves, the family farmer, the small mechanic, the small plumber, the carpenter, who work for themselves, and they clearly pay the brunt of income tax because that's how they pay their business tax. And in 2005, a commitment was made to Ohio's small business community that we would reduce that tax over a period of time by 21%. Well, guess what? 2 years ago, we couldn't live within our means, government, and 2 years ago, we decided to play around and play games, and we punished small businesses and individual entrepreneurs and the self-employed by reneging on the promise that was made by government. This bill restores that promise by finally instituting the last cut of the income tax, which is so vital to those businesses that are pass-through entities, which is tens of thousands of business, and the over 500,000 self-employed. So we commend both the governor and his leadership, the Ohio House and its leadership, and we are confident that those two provisions will stay intact with the Ohio Senate and will finally become law and will really help entrepreneurs in not only stabilizing their businesses, but clearly growing and expanding their businesses, which is what we need to do as part of the recovery for this state. So we are proud to be supporters. We think that this is the right time. It is transformational. It has got a huge opportunity to really change the direction of Ohio, not just for this biennium, but for future generations, and we can become a leader of states in how we transform state government and how we can say in Ohio that we lived within our means and we didn't do it with raising taxes. Thank you. I'm happy to turn this over to Brian Williams, who is the Government Affairs Director for ABC. Brian?